Wanderer, which is a great time to start the match. Having the vision doesn't really matter that much at this point for now, because Hajizi is definitely going to be so slippery. You won't be able to predict where he's going to fly anyway with the Ling. So, I don't know. Mid lane might be better, but other lanes are in danger.
Yeah, I agree. Hajizi can... This is the only advantage that I'm seeing from Omega. Hajizi has the capability to split push whenever NXP decides to push as a team, which is their strong suit here. As I say that, over to the bottom lane, a bit of a scuffle for the neutral minion camp, but no, it's all good in the hood. Meanwhile, yeah, it's a Hajizi thing here. What do you think about that?
Now, Hajizi is he's gonna have a good time rather, because there's also no hard crowd control inside of NXP. Right now, though, Hajizi will pick up the kill. Again, no one can really counter him at this point. James is off the sides. Same with Yaoi, but right now, looks like another big fight here.
Yeah, James in the backline trying to zone out Toshi here. Meanwhile, Paquito, Heath manages to survive. A bit of a response here from Omega going back in towards the turtle side of things for them to secure it. Yaoi would still pay the price. Will actually pay the price for this match to flicker out and survives the fight. Extort ready to back him up, but the turtle is going to be safe in the hands of Omega at this point.
Yeah, Omega's going to be at least concerned with objectives, which we have seen since level 1. So this is going according to plan, I think, at least for them. But the top lane did not.
Yeah, good outplay by Renegade there over in the top lane. Despite being on the turret, still manages to secure the kill onto Kurtizi. And I feel like that is the setback that NXP wants to happen to Omega. Try to put the cores in a disadvantage here, since they are a lot. And as I say that, NXP will try to disengage this fight against Omega. Will try to counter-initiate themselves. James looking for an opportunity to pop the ultimate, but the HPs are incredibly low here for NXP as they manage to take down Yaoi. Not really the one that you want to take down first, as James takes down Hayes. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Heat next in line here, secured by Renegade and Hajizi, forced to recall out.
This is what I'm talking about, man. Exhort decision-making on that. Angela turned that around, and Omega actually was worse because of what they did. They ended up on the losing side there. At the same time, just buying time for Kurtizi, which is not bad, but you gave H2O some kills and assists. That is not where you want to be at if you're fighting against NXP with H2O on the Claude.
Yeah, H2O, as long as he starts to snowball in the game, he's just going to take control of the mid-game later on, even more so on the Claude. Now, the main question here is, how will Omega transition into the mid-game where team fights are important?
That's right. Again, team fights are going to be where the focus is of Omega anyway. With that lineup, they just want a team fight, and they're doing that right now.
As H2O will fall down to the hands of Hajizi, but here comes the hard guard to try to protect him as much as possible. And
it's a 1v3. Look at that.
It's a 1v3, and this has to be a little bit more damage on the mid lane. Renegade will be repositioning himself to find an opening, but he gets found by Heath himself. He is going to be forced to back off.
Yeah, Heath again on the Paquito is not the usual Heath that we see, but he is doing the job. He's doing the job so far. Again, James is not ready to fight yet, so they're not really in any big danger as of yet. Same with H2O. But I want to see if Heath can extend their lead further with this hero.
Yeah, I agree, because you have to, with this lineup that Omega has, they have to make sure that they're way ahead of the line here against NXP for them to be very effective. Just like what you said, H2O and James, they're not ready to fight yet. As I say that, Yaoi actually looking for a little bit of a fight against Heath. Here comes the ultimate being popped, and Renegade forced to flicker out. Heath is out of commission for now, but the turtle will again be secured by Omega.
Yeah, a little bit funny there. They're making some pretty weird ultimate calls there, but you know what? Maybe that's just the play for NXP. They're making some weird stuff that the enemy can't really decipher, and that's gonna make Omega question their decisions coming into this one.
As Kurtizi picks up the corrosion site, slowly going to be a problem this one when as H2O forces to BMI out of the fight. Meanwhile, over the bottom lane, James and Toshi in a bit of a scuffle, but it's not really as impactful as we want to assume. But Renegade is the primary target for Courtesy and Heat, and they may just be able to take him down, but Renegade doing what he can to dish out a lot of damage, almost takes out Courtesy. Exort gonna try to survive here in this fight. Here comes the Blazing Duet. Will take down Heat in the back line, and H2O hungry for blood in the back line, forced to use the Tempest of Blades to try to escape the hands of NXP. Omega lost that fight, to be honest. It's a 1v1.
Yeah, it was not a great trade to be had, especially giving H2O another assist, more gold to the laner, and James as well on the bot side getting a big turret.
And you really don't want to give an Alice a lot of space to farm in any game of Mobile Legends for that matter. Because as soon as her passive is up to 30 stacks, she's already online. And looking at how Omega is playing right now, it's looking likely that NXP, like James and H2O, will have a good time in the mid game.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think there's going to be a big question of whether Courtesy is ready to fight, because James is just getting ready. He is warming up already. And I want to see some really proactive play here for Omega that doesn't fall apart. Because everything they've been doing so far has been falling apart.
And speaking of falling apart, the Turtle has not been falling to the side of NXP for now, but they are starting it off right now, doing a good job. Yaoi just zoning off the members of Omega here, gets the stun onto Hadjizi as well to prevent him from stealing the Turtle away from them. So it's not a perfect Turtle game for Omega for now, but with the Turtle buff onto H2O, this should be a turret conversion for them, for that matter. Meanwhile, over at the top lane, Renegade and Courtesy in a scuffle, but they will disengage.
Yeah, I think Renegade is... This is what we saw on the first day, by the way. Renegade playing on the Vendetta. They didn't get complete W's there, but he played it perfectly. So far, Renegade as a player really maturing in Season 7, man.
Maturing as a player is not always is always a good thing. Not always a good thing. It's always a good thing. Especially considering the fact that Season 6 was... I beg to differ, not the best performance.
Yeah, Season 6 was the H2O show.
Yeah. And everybody else on the side of NXP, they're all showing up. James being showed up here against Omega, but he managed to survive. Barely still survived. Yes, he immobilization. The micro outplay from James. What was that?
What?
That shouldn't happen. He should have been dead.
That was an easy kill.
It was 4 versus 1.
4 versus 1 for how many seconds? 1 minute?
But James, man, James has been a god on that Alice, man.
Oh, man. Sorry. We lost our track. I love it. I love it, man. I love it.
I love the game. That was so beautiful. As we go ahead and mourn over the potential. Lost the James there. The Turtle, the Lord area was being contested by Omega, looking to get a fight here over in the mid lane. Because all things considered, NXP is still ahead in the game because of the fact that, Omega is ahead of the game because they have all the tier 1 turrets. They have full reign over the jungle of NXP.
Yeah, and core of the game, man, MLBB still a gold game, and if you are ahead, you definitely have a big advantage in the coming team fights. Composition can only carry you so far.
It's all about execution here. Speaking of execution, H2O looking to execute Courtesy, but it's not going to happen. Despite the Blazing Duet, still not a secured kill. Meanwhile, over the mid lane, they're trying their chance onto James. Once again, Toshi gets taken out.
Oh, look at this, man. The momentum. Can you feel it? Slowly shifting. Not Exort, though.
Yeah, Exort, no doubt, will fall down to Courtesy, singling out the support player there as Yaoi tries to buy a lot of time here for NXP to reposition, but no help is coming aside from H2O, and H2O decides to yeet out of there. Just BMI out. Hadjizi looking to get a kill here onto H2O, but the damage output from H2O is enough. The 1v1 outplays here from NXP. The micro could not have been real. James looking for a kill onto Hadjizi, manages to make it out. Hayes will get the brunt of the damage damage there from James, but it doesn't matter. Omega still not able to secure a kill for themselves.
That is unbelievable, man. We got some pretty slick moves happening for NXP. They know they're not in the lead in terms of gold, but they're definitely making a case for, out-microing the opponent. On the other side, though, I love what Omega's doing. Curtizi, instant Mara fan, by the way. Mara's an instant fan of this guy, just because of how we were just talking about this guy. He knows how to hold down that lane. You never see him on the highlights, but he knows how to do his job.
Doing the job of a one-one, not showing up in team fights as much as possible and being a big nuisance is the main thing here for Curtizi.
Yes,
that was his job.
absolutely.
He was able to take down the tier 2 turret in the top lane, and it's slowly making NXP have a run for their money. Speaking of which, they tried to go for a fight against Soji and Heath. They already expended the Heart Guard as well, so that's an ultimate out for NXP. An opening for Omega to go for a team fight, but I don't think they will oblige.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned Toshi, by the way, because this guy's what you have to watch out for if you're NXP. A very fed Esmeralda is something that's very scary. And there's a reason why Esmeralda was almost perma-banned last season. And I think that fact is still apparent here in this season because of the scaling of this guy becomes almost unkillable in the late game.
That's true. And with not the lack of catches here, they still have catches on the Esmeralda, but at the same time, with the way the team fights have been going here, NXP really wants to go for the extended team fights as much as possible because Omega can wipe them out, but at the same time, Toshi on that Esmeralda thrives on the extended team fights. As the longer the team fight goes, the longer Esmeralda would be very effective in the fight. And NXP is now forced in a conundrum where do we extend the team fight so that we can pick off almost all the members of Omega, or do we keep it as short as possible, try to pick up one and then back off?
I feel like the extended team fight definitely goes in favor of the guys who have more sustain. And if you look at the lineup, obviously we have a few sustains to be happening for NXP. The Spell Vamp from the Vendetta, obviously Spell Vamp from the Alice, and H2O is going to have a lot of life steal later on, so it's a matter of time, man. If we can reach 18 minutes with NXP still pretty much on even, Omega is going to start to falter as well.
And as we say that, Renegade and Hajizi in a duel, Hajizi more damage output, but manages to get out Renegade. Lord is now luminous. That is the main target here for NXP to potentially even out the map control, as Curtizi is just buying himself some time for the team. Renegade being dueled out here by Hayes and Hajizi. James going for the backstab. We'll try to go for Hayes here. And will drop the ultimate. Hayes being forced to save umbrella out of there. Renegade obliges him with a fight, and he's going to get taken out. Curtizi next in line. 1-1. The crossbow of Tang. Oh, survive! That is just survive. And H2O will go down, and it is a winning fight. It is a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Omega. Lord should be theirs, but James has other plans. Makes it a 2-for-3 trade. Now the Lord is not available. Meanwhile, Renegade chasing down Curtizi here. Hajizi in the proper area to try to cut him off. No blades available, but will get taken out.
So here we go. I feel like that was just a perfect moment. By the way, this instant replay is brought to you by Oppo A94. Experience gaming at full speed. The Oppo A94. Get yours for only $13,999. This was supposed to be the call. H2O was right where he wanted to be, but he got bursted down almost instantly. And I feel like that was a big missed moment there for NXP.
A big missed moment. They were all in good spots. Like, the moment that H2O decided to come in, it could have been the perfect opportunity for James to also pop his ult to just maximize the damage that they have. But they were all scattered apart. There weren't really any good shot calls there in that fight. And now they're struggling to keep their presence in the map stable here.
Yeah, and again, so far, because of the anchoring position of Curtizi, they are able to also out-sustain. Not to mention, Hajizi is having one of the best games so far of Season 7, at least for this guy. I think Omega can do no wrong here. If they can keep this up, they definitely have this game.
If they can keep this up, and I feel like they can, as Lord starts marching on towards the tier 3 inhibitor turret here. There comes the big team by Renegade trying to go for a pickoff here. The damage output is really not for NXP. Lord will get taken out. This turret is going to go down without a shadow of a doubt. And NXP still looking for a big opportunity here. Pickoffs is where they thrive, and with Omega just bunching up together, they're not going to get to the pickoffs that they want.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. I feel like late game H2O is something that NXP can't rely on. James though.
James in the back lines gets Cartesi, but not enough of damage, but he does to go for the blood orb. Still gets taken out though. Renegade out for the hunt, gets the kill on the Cartesi, gets a good trade here. Over the wall, still manages to survive. The Tempest of Blades makes him
still alive.
Makes him alive, man. The Yaoi in the back lines as well as H2O looking to put everybody back, but the matter of fact is they need to watch the turret at the bottom lane. Hajizi looking for an opportunity to push this lane himself, and NXP will finally go back.
Yep, the Yin Yang overturn also missed by Haze there, and Hajizi quick slay of the turret there. One poke all you need for that HP, because it will regenerate a little bit, so it's great that they are able to hold that down at least, and they still get what they came for in the end.
Yeah, and now NXP, they're down to one turret left. Super minions will start pushing in over the side lanes, and those are the lanes that you really don't want super minions pushing, because you'll be all over the place trying to defend this, and NXP needs to equalize the map as fast as they can. Where did everything go wrong here for NXP?
I feel like NXP, they have that mid-game reliance on H2O that they can't do right now because he is on Claude. So right now, without H2O's initiatives, I feel like NXP is just starting to just feel this game out.
Oh, this is not a good spot for Yaoi. Gets caught off by Heat, but Omega didn't decide to push through with that fight, as a pause will be called here. How can NXP turn things around, man?
I mean, unsurprising that we saw that the way that they're fighting. Again, a lot of times with NXP's wins on the previous week, it was H2O making the call that I want to go, I want to make something happen, and he does. You can do that with heroes like the Roger, you can do that with heroes like the Ling, not so much with the Claude.
And we're already at the point where the late game is where Claude and Alice shines, but they're not really shining. Is it the composition here for NXP? Is Omega just a better composition at this point?
So far, I think they have advantages on the side lane. Because, like we saw earlier, there was a lot of roams happening for the Vendetta, which didn't pan out. But when all that was happening, the side lanes were accruing a lot of gold. The Curtisi on the Wan Wan, Toshi on the Esmeralda, they didn't roam as much, but somehow they still have an advantage. And right now, those heroes that we're talking about, they're super fed, they're super hungry, they want to fight. And it only makes Omega a lot tougher in the mid-game.
Yeah, and on paper, it should be NXP that has a good composition in this entire game.
They do, yeah.
They're falling down. No, not a lot of catches here for Omega. And this has been a trend that we saw during their match last week, where they had 4 mages in their entire composition, not really enough catches for Omega. It's almost the same thing here for Omega. Like, they don't have good catches, but they're still winning the team fights.
Yeah, and again, the team fights in the late game rely a lot on those catches, which they do not have. So, they're going to have to be creative. They're going to have to be a little bit more creative here.
They're creative, and do you think NXP needs to be creative in their pickoffs as well?
I mean, who can do the pickoffs, really? It's just a soft crowd control with Yaoi on the Baksha. Other than that, it's also James' soft crowd control. I mean, he has a little bit of a stun. It's only like 0.5 seconds, or 1.5 seconds. That it's not really that big if you're thinking about the big team fight.
Yeah, it's barely there. And pickoffs is the main story here for NXP. I could confidently say that, as the Lords being started out by Wan Wan.
Yeah, Curtisi as usual being just the guy that you have to rely on from the back end, and he's going to do the job for you. And that same thing happening here on the Lord area. The rest of NXP getting distracted very heavily by the other members of Omega.
And remember when I said earlier on in the early game where Hajizi's importance in this game is to just split push. That is what's happening right now. GC is looking for an opportunity to go for a split push in any available lane whatsoever, be it top or the bottom lane. And that's forcing NXP to always fight at a disadvantage.
Yeah, man, you don't want to do that if you are the guy with the Claude. Like I said earlier, just doesn't work out. Exhort without Ice Queen 1 might be able to do some more AoE damage, AoE soft crowd control, but fight's gonna break out here. Yawi, he's baiting out, he's buying some info.
And this is not a good fight for NXP. They can try to steal, but they will pay the price as James quickly being bursted out, will be forced out. The hard guard will be forced out there.
No hard guard, yeah.
He's gonna get taken out, and that they should not have contested the Lord there, to be completely honest. They shouldn't have been in that presence in that area in the first place, because it's a 3v5.
Yeah, James might have ended up with a bit of a bad call there. Being caught out by multiple members of Omega, burning the heart guard, basically giving away this Lord for free.
And it's slowly becoming an Omega. It's not slowly becoming an Omega game. It's starting to be clear that this is an Omega game as they're trying to target out Renegade, not able to secure the kill itself. Securing that kill on the Renegade might just turn things around. Like
yeah.
Omega cementing it.
I think Renegade is one of the reasons why NXP is actually still holding on to the lanes. If he isn't playing this well, he probably would have had lanes pushed already, but so far, NXP just is on the downside.
Yeah, and it's going to take two big team fights here for NXP to turn things around as the Yaoi gets in front of the damage here from the Omega Siege over in the mid lane. James and Exhort trying to clear out the waves as fast as they can, but with Curtizi just dishing out the damage on that turret. It's all just a matter of time before Omega secures this kill as the Winter Truncheon will be forced out by James, will still be taken out. Here comes the Tempest of Blaze, just trying to pick up any members here, but H2O in the back line manages to take down the kill. Jeezy low on HP as well. The turret not going to be a factor as the turret and the crossbow tank will be forced out here. Will take down one member from Exhort. It is a 1-for-1 spray, but this is the time for NXP to really fight this. Renegade not securing that kill despite having the hard guard on him. And it's now going to be an Omega game taking game number 1 in this best of 3 series.
What was supposedly